I'm on air. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X. A very warm welcome to Thursday's edition of the Movies TV Mad Daily. We haven't done a DC update video for you in a long time, so we're going to talk. It's all about DC today. Very, very exciting. These are your headlines. Damon Lindelof, former co-creator of one of my favourite shows of all time, Lost, will be involved with the Lanterns TV show on Max. He's going to be a writer and producer. I'm not sure if he's actually going to be the showrunner. We know that comic book legend Tom King is involved with that show as well. James Gunn has confirmed that as well. Now, there was a few Titans and Deathstroke things going on yesterday. Now, James Gunn was asked from a fan to either confirm or deny or blink or wink if, Deathstroke is going to be in DC Universe. He winked. He was asked about Teen Titans because if you remember several months ago, Teen Titans was rumoured by the Hollywood Reporter, even the writer apparently who wrote the Supergirl movie, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, who adapted that graphic novel for the screen, was developing that movie. He was non-committal about that, but I think because he's pretty much confirmed Deathstroke, and Deathstroke has always been pretty much linked in with Teen Titans, I think it's a given. And the Hollywood Reporter very rarely gets a scoop wrong. I mean, there's a lot of propaganda with them. They're not very nice people. They're from California, after all. Sorry, Californian people, if you're watching. I'm sure you're lovely. But the people who work in Hollywood and work for Access Entertainment Media are not such nice people. Don't like them. But I'm sure the rest of the Californian, population is great. Anyway, and so it looks like we're definitely, I was about to say, it looks like we're definitely getting, obviously the Lanterns show is going to happen. Also, there's, we have the Homelander actor rumoured to be playing Booster Gold. Now, Mr. Starr himself, and I'm calling him Mr. Starr because you know me, I forgot, Anthony Starr, isn't it, is rumoured to be playing Booster Gold. Yeah, he's a very good actor, but I'd rather it wasn't him, if I'm being honest, but we will wait and see. So he's denied it. He said he's just golfing buddies with James Gunn. He's just happened to follow him on Instagram, I think. This is a recent thing. But talking about unfollowing and following James Gunn on Instagram, huge rumour, and I don't know if it's a fake screenshot, but someone on X Twitter posted that Gal Gadot has unfollowed James Gunn. Now, for the longest of time since James Gunn has taken over DC, there's been rumours about Gal Gadot. Is she going to continue to play Wonder Woman? And this has been my stance from the beginning. No Ben Affleck, no Henry Cavill, so it should be no Gal Gadot. Simple as that. Why is she so special? Sorry, this is just my opinion. If you're going to start again, give us a brand new Wonder Woman. I think that's the best way forward, if you ask me. Maybe some Snyder fans think that's wrong. I think some Snyder fans would rather she's not involved because then it gives them more chance to restore the Snyderverse separately. And maybe some fans will be putting 2 and 2 together and getting 600 there. So what do I think of Damon Lindelof potentially running the Lanterns show? Well, my stance has always been that these Max DC shows should all be movies released cinematically. They could easily do that. Even James Gunn's animated series, right? They could all be movies. They could all be in cinema. But these studios force these creatives to have a certain percentage for streaming. Even though streaming's dying and there's no point to streaming and they're destined just to be glorified catch-up services in the end. But that's what they're attempting to do. So James Gunn hasn't got any choice. Instead of having an epic Green Lantern movie, we're going to have like a True Detective Lanterns streaming show. It most probably could be good. It could also be bad. Who knows? Now, Damon Lindelof did co-create Lost, did a wonderful job on Lost as far as I'm concerned, whether he was making it up as he went along with his partner Carlton Cuse, or if he had a plan, doesn't really matter. Lost was a great show. We'll never see another great show like it again. Not from the Hollywood we have today. But he also did HBO's Watchmen series, which I hated. Zack Snyder's Watchmen was superior in every way. And it was more, it was more race baiting, it was more gaslighting, it was more political correctness from New Hollywood. It didn't work. They made one series, then they stopped. Their official line was, that they made one series. They only meant to make one series. It was supposed to be a limited series. I don't believe you, but anyway, so he's responsible for something I don't like, and he's responsible for something I absolutely think is great. But I think the difference on Lost, it was a collaborative effort. He wasn't working on his own. With Watchmen, he was left, to his own devices, but he was also left to his own devices on The Leftovers, which was also actually a very, very good show with a great idea. But I didn't like his Watchmen series. It wasn't Watchmen. It wasn't what we expected, but we shouldn't have expected anything these days. We don't get good things, do we? So it should be no surprise that Watchmen wasn't very good. But the good news is with Lanterns, I think, I feel that, again, he won't be working alone. Tom King will be there. And I understand some people love Tom King as a comic book creator. Some people don't like Tom King as a comic book creator. And, we'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to prejudge these situations. James Gunn understands how he's under the hammer. He knows whatever he does has to work. So we've kind of had this discussion before, haven't we? Is it a good idea to be announcing these projects? If I was them, I wouldn't announce anything else. But I think the next thing you will hear is that he's writing and directing the Authority movie. That's him. That's why he wanted to get, I nearly said Deadpool. That's why he wanted to get Peacemaker 2 done now, at the same time as Superman, because he wants to get to the Authority. This is a man that's very, very hands-on every level, on every project. I mean, if possible, probably more so than Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige isn't a writer, isn't a director, but James Gunn is. This is why he's at DC Universe. When they call him, DC Studios co-CEO, he's not a paper shuffler. He's a writer-director. He's a creator. And in the end, the buck will stop with him. But I'll ask you again, is it sensible to be announcing all these projects when Superman hasn't been released yet? I mean, it shows that James Gunn is very, very confident in his Superman movie. He's very, very confident in his own ability. And of course, he would be. You don't get to be in the position that James Gunn is in if you weren't confident in your own ability. But we've seen the box office and how erratic it is. Films that we expect to do half decently flop. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't think Furiosa would break any records or anything. I didn't think Furiosa would be a flop. A lot of people saying it was predictable. People always say, oh, I knew that was going to happen. No. I thought Furiosa would be a solid hit. Not a big hit, but I thought they'd just about get away with it. Because of the director, they got the Mad Max director there. And he did make a pretty solid movie. But people didn't come to see it. People didn't have any interest. And New Hollywood and people who work in New Hollywood and Writers Guild of America writers saying the general audience suck ass. You suck ass for saying they suck ass. This is children. This is them. We're seeing the real them. Their Hollywood is falling to pieces and they're very, very upset. So what do I make of, has Gal Gadot actually unfollowed James Gunn? Well, it wouldn't surprise me. I think the other day, I think I mentioned this yesterday, he was pushing people to buy a brand new Wonder Woman comic. I've always been 99.9% sure that Gal Gadot would not be reprising her role. Now, he lied. He lied. Because he was asked, basically Hollywood Reporter, Variety, I think even Deadline, at one point or the other, have reported that Gal Gadot would not be James Gunn's Wonder Woman. He denied that. But it wasn't done vehemently, if you like. It was done, he wasn't ready. He didn't want, because he knew the pressure he came under by saying Henry Cavill was no longer Superman. I think Henry Cavill's more popular as Superman than Gal Gadot is as Wonder Woman, if I'm being honest. I don't think there'll be... And also, there was never a big announcement like there was with Henry that she was coming back. So I don't think there'll be much upset about her not playing Wonder Woman. You never know. I mean, people lose their shit over anything these days. But I think, listen, as I say, if you get rid of Henry, I mean, Ben Affleck quit ages ago. Ben Affleck, once they said he couldn't do his Batman movie, he was told by a friend if he did it, he'd, be drinking again. I'm not convinced that it was Ben Affleck's decision not to make a Batman movie. Maybe they said you can't have your trilogy. They originally gave him a trilogy. Something happened there. Obviously, he's got to... I mean, look, alcoholism isn't cured. He's still an alcoholic even if he's not drinking, and I don't know that situation. But I think Ben would have loved to have made that Batman movie, and what happened again was absolutely despicable. But listen, if there's no Ben, if there's no Henry, there shouldn't be any Gal. It's as simple as that. Look, it's a brand new universe, and I understand, the Flash movie was kind of its backdoor pilot, if you like. They used the Flash movie, like they're working with Walter Hamada, to recreate the DCEU. It's now DCU. But basically, without the DCEU, there will be no DCU, because Flashpoint is the reason that DCU is another timeline in the multiverse. That's how it works, right? I think it is anyway. And I know that Peacemaker originally was from the DCEU, but that was James Gunn. So if he has decided not to carry on with Gal Gadot, I agree with that decision. I think it's the right decision at the end of the day. I do want a brand new Wonder Woman, and we'll see who he chooses. I mean, listen, he could use her, he may not use her. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Wonder Woman shows up in the Superman movie. And I think it most probably won't be Gal Gadot, but we will see, He may have some kind of plans for Gal, like he may have some kind of plans for Henry Cavill, maybe even Ben Affleck. Who knows? Not forgetting you wanted Ben Affleck to direct a DC Universe movie, and Ben Affleck publicly went to the Hollywood Reporter and said no. And Gunn had told fans that he had spoken to Ben Affleck about directing a DC Universe movie. Now, that wasn't a lie. He probably did, but Affleck said no. And then he went publicly and said, I would never direct a DCU movie, because he wants to decide what he does. And so this is what you're going to get from many respectable directors. Sorry, James, I like you, but I'm not having you telling me how to make my movie. And that's the problem. Because everyone's kind of seen what happened with Feige in the MCU now. And in the end, it was a recipe for disaster. And, the MCU started off so well and made money and people loved it. But creatively, it began to have a problem, because being an MCU director, it's like everyone coming in on Sam Raimi about Multiverse of Madness. He just did a friend a favour. That friend is Kevin Feige. But he didn't have creative control over Multiverse of Madness. And that was the problem. So all these people like Campion having a go at him was wrong. You were wrong because it wasn't his fault. Say it after me. Multiverse of Madness was Kevin Feige's fault, not Sam Raimi's. How dare you? Anyway, so he's going to go after really respectable directors. And they're going to say no. And I think he's gone after big directors. He's very ambitious, James Gunn. I think he genuinely wants to create a great DC universe, whether you believe that or not. Whether he can or not is another question. And I think he could end up directing more than he probably originally envisioned. But I mean, he wasn't even sure if he wanted to direct the Superman movie. But yeah, and as I say, definitely think that he's writing and directing The Authority, which will be interesting, because definitely, even if he claims the authority and not in Superman, but I think there will be mentions of the authority at the very least. And it's going to be interesting what we see and what we don't see in this Superman movie. There's clearly going to be a lot of DC character cameos in this film. But he claims it's still a Superman movie and it still focuses on Superman. Now, something very interesting a few weeks ago when he revealed the costume, he never responded to the criticism. Now, I think this was absolutely spot on. This shows that James Gunn understands. Because, yes, he does talk to fans sometimes. He's criticised fans who come after him. But he understands how important the costume is to the fans. He's allowing people to have their say. I believe this is the best way forward because if you try and defend yourself in terms of the costume, you're onto hiding to nothing. As I said from the beginning, from the angle I could see, I didn't hate the costume, I didn't love it, I didn't think it's the most amazing costume I've ever seen, but I didn't think it was bad. I mean, yeah, the collars will take some getting used to, but I don't think it's a bad costume. And I think when we see it up close, hopefully it will look better. That's if this is even actually the costume that Superman will be wearing. Is this, is this Superman? Is this, is this Bizarro? Is this Ultraman? We don't know the old eyebrows situation. We really don't know what's going on. And when you haven't seen a movie and you don't know what's going on in a movie, it's really difficult. You have to be careful when you see something like a costume reveal because you could end up with egg on your face. And I said this a few weeks ago. I said, be very, very careful what you say about that costume because we just don't know. He could absolutely be playing us. We don't know what this movie is going to be. And it's very clear that he's very confident, as I said, in his own ability. And he's very confident that he's going to make a great Superman movie. But nobody knows that. And even if he is confident in his own ability, that doesn't matter. As I say, we know how unpredictable the box office is now. You just don't know what's going to happen. Now, we know that the Suicide Squad didn't do well at the box office because it was released day and date during, one of the worst moments of the COVID pandemic as well. So there's that. But his Guardians 3 did do really, really well. So it'd be interesting what happens with Superman. I think if it's a good movie and people deem it's a good movie, people will go. But I think Hollywood are relying on this Superman movie, not just Warner Brothers, but I think Hollywood in general. And when we go back to Furiosa, that's probably Warner Brothers' first loss of the year. But again, people want Mad Max. Nerdrotic said something very interesting. They should bring back Mel Gibson as Mad Max. I agree. I mean, I've never seen a Mad Max movie before, but I'd rather, at the end of the day, if Mel Gibson was in a Mad Max movie, I'd go and see it. But I've never seen a Mad Max movie. People have told me about Furiosa and told me it's a good movie. That's why I said earlier it's a good movie. I haven't seen Furiosa myself, but everything people have told me, it sounds like a solid movie. So that's what I meant about that. Just for clarification, by the way, so we all know where we stand there. But yeah, that's the first loss for WB this year. So they've been doing pretty well, but people don't want to watch Furiosa. People want to watch Mad Max. But this diversity structure they have in Hollywood and in entertainment in general is a bit of a problem, everyone. And until they knock it on the head, right? They've killed the female character because they don't know how to do a female character anymore. And it's a shame. But, people didn't want to go and watch Furiosa. Simple as that. And that's why it flopped. And, there's a lot of people scratching their heads and going, oh my God, how can this be a flop? This is shocking. And as I say, I expected it to bring in a little bit of money for Warner Brothers, but I didn't expect it to be a huge hit. But the level that it's failed at is shocking. But it just goes to tell, basically what it goes to show you is that the audience are fucking fed up of this nonsense. They want to see proper movies. They want to be uplifted in the cinema. They don't want to be going there to help Hollywood tick boxes. And it's simple as that. They are fed up with you. They are fed up with you. And you can call the audience, you can say the audience suck ass. I mean, isn't that a great idea, everyone? Your industry is on the verge of bankruptcy. You're on your knees and you're crying at your customer that they suck ass. That's New Hollywood. This is New Hollywood, everyone. This is what they're all about. Like little children who kick their legs up and down in the air when they don't get their own way. Where we're in charge. We're the kingmakers. I keep on telling you that. You ain't fucking in charge, you little spoiled little brats. We are. Do as you're told. Make great stuff or we won't come and watch your shit. It's as simple as that. Hollywood is dying, and when they shift through the ashes of Hollywood, when they get through the coat, they're still trying to say it's COVID and the strikes and whatever other excuse, release dates. We know why. You know why. Stop living in fucking denial. So Hollywood are waiting for this Superman movie to be released next July. They're relying on James Gunn to save Hollywood. Now, without a doubt, Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be a celebrated movie. It's going to make a lot of money. People like Jackman, like Ryan Reynolds. I still think it's lazy. This nostalgia bait movie is lazy. It's what Hollywood do best. But people like, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, love, and love Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. And what really upsets me is that Kevin Feige's going to get the credit for all of this. And he's just literally inherited Deadpool. Without Ryan Reynolds fighting for a Deadpool movie, this would never have happened. And, I'm sure Feige supported that down the line because Feige's been involved with MCU all through the different studios for many, many years. And I get that. But without Ryan Reynolds, there would have been no Deadpool movie in the first place. Anyone who deserves the credit, if this film indeed is a big success, should be Ryan Reynolds. But again, and I mean, it's done 10 million already in pre-ticket sales, which is huge, which is amazing. So it is going to be a hit. But nobody knows what it's like right yet. I'm not sure if critics have seen it yet or early screenings have been had. I don't think so. I don't know. But, I haven't heard any buzz about this movie one way or the other. So it's going to be interesting what happens there. But it looks like it's going to be a huge hit. If you give people something that they're interested in, then they'll go to the cinema. People wasn't interested in Furiosa. That's the point. And so we kind of play this waiting game with James Gunn to see what movie he delivers next July. But I think, this animated DC thing that is coming to Max. By the way, something else I forgot to tell you. If you live in the UK and you have Now or Sky, Now TV or Sky, the Penguin series, the limited Penguin series, the spin-off sequel from Matt Reeves' The Batman will be available on Now TV this autumn or fall. Well, if you're a Brit, if you're an American living in the UK and you don't know what autumn is, you only understand the term fall. So for us Brits, it's autumn. For you Americans, it's fall. So I think it should be out around the same time as it is on Max. I've been complaining about this. Even though I'm in Cyprus, I do have a way of watching now. So that's very, very good news for me. I'll be able to watch The Penguin. And hopefully, because basically this is why Max isn't available in the UK, because it's this long-running deal with Sky and HBO. Sky Atlantic is literally HBO. Basically, all the HBO stuff is on Sky Atlantic, and that's where Penguin will be. So, sorry I didn't mention that earlier, and if you checked out the video because I was boring you because it's too long for you, I apologise. But yes, I did retweet it on X Twitter, so if you follow me on there, you won't miss a trick. You won't miss any TV, movie news, even Manchester United news, because I'm a huge United fan, as you know. Now and again, we do videos on here as well, and I'm not going to apologise for doing that. So, I'm balanced about Superman, about DC Universe. I'm a little bit excited, a little bit tentative. I don't know what we're going to get, but I'm here for it because I'm a DC fan and I'm a Superman fan. and I want it all to be great. I want it to work, and I'm excited, but I have my reservations, as you all know. So we have to just play it out, wait it out, and there will be people who have decided not to go and support DC Universe because of what happened to Cavill and Snyder. And I get it, I understand, but I'm a DC fan. You know, this is a brand new universe. It is utterly exciting to see what he does. And if it's crap, it's crap. But there's a chance that it may not be crap, you know, because he has delivered really great, you know, comic book movies up to this point, as far as I'm concerned. So he is capable of doing something special. He's a fan of the comics. He understands the comics. So there's an opportunity here. Probably this is the kind of thing that DC should have done years ago. You know, someone who the audience kind of have an affinity for. And, you know, there's members of the audience who love Zack Snyder, but regrettably, he isn't. Zack is Zack. Zack does things the Zack way. And that's not for everyone. That's the problem. And we've seen within, you know, with James Gunn, the way he does things is more accessible to a more general audience, even though they've kind of, I said yesterday, there is no general audience. Well, there certainly isn't for Furiosa. But I think if you give the audience an opportunity to come in to watch an inspirational, epic Superman movie, and the sad thing is, there's nothing wrong with Man of Steel. It's not a bad movie, and I know people were offended by the destruction, but especially Superman killing Zod. That's something that didn't particularly bother me, but it did bother a lot of people, and I get that as well. So I think James will make a Superman film that he feels he should make, but I think he will try and avoid being utterly controversial. Well, unless he kills Superman off, something I've suspected for ages. I hope it doesn't happen, and I hope my suspicions are wrong about that, because that would kill DC Universe. A bait and switch with killing off Superman and making Supergirl the main character would destroy his DC Universe. There would be nowhere to go. He would be, you know, he would have to go and live in Mexico or something. Or move to Israel with Bryan Singer. You know, it would be that serious. So they need to break a habit of a lifetime here, because we're not buying their extremism or their ideology. You know, we know them. We understand where they're coming from. You know, those days are gone. They have to make real uplifting entertainment. This Superman movie has to be a Superman movie, and you can't be killing Superman. Of course, there's no evidence. You know, it's just something I suspect. Hopefully, he doesn't kill Superman, because no one's coming back for more if you do that. Because no one's watching a Supergirl-led DC Universe, whether you like it or not, James. So hopefully, you're not going down that direction. But we will see what happens. It will be very interesting what this Superman movie is. I'm fascinated. I'm intrigued. Whatever it is, if it's good or bad or indifferent, I'm interested. You know, you get people saying, I trust James Gunn. Well, I don't trust anybody. I barely trust myself. The only thing I'm going to trust is my own eyes. A year this July, when I go to the cinema, I'll be able to trust my own senses, right? Watching this film, and I'll know once and for all if it's any good. And as I say, I don't have an agenda against James Gunn or for James Gunn. I want to see great movies. But I'm not going to lie to my audience. I will tell you what I honestly think about that movie, like I do with Doctor Who. I have issues with what's going on with Doctor Who, but if I like an episode, I like an episode. I liked most of 73 Yards until RTD fucked the third act up. I was honest about that. There was no agenda about that. I enjoyed Boom, but I still don't think it's one of the best Moffat Doctor Who episodes ever. It doesn't even get into his top episodes. So at the end of the day, I'm very honest about the entertainment I talk about on this platform. It's very, very important. We do seem to be going up in subs and views, by the way, and I want to thank everyone who comes in, comments and likes, and I'm sorry that I don't reply recently, but I will try my best. I have been busy, but I want to say thank you. That's amazing, because this is a channel that I never expected to evolve in terms of subs and, you know, views, but I'm doing a little bit better than I used to. I'm not monetized. I'm nowhere near being able to be monetized, But at the end of the day, it's always nice to see that people are supporting you and maybe enjoying what you're doing. I think what's going on here is that people like honesty and transparency, and I give that to you. And I think when you go to the other entertainment channels, they have these long intros, it's all fake. They say things to gauge certain reactions from you. With me, you know me. You know I'm a fellow fan like you guys and girls. You know when I say something, it's from my heart. You know I care about DC. You know I care about Doctor Who. You know I care about TV and movies. And so do you. And that's a good thing.